Welcome on in here. First pitch, WagerTalk TV. Leave it to Major League Baseball to have, 9 games on the second day of their season. I don't know. Figure it out. Friday action we got coming your way. Dan Alexander here, and joining me, I got Adam Trigger, fresh off a Turning Stone visit where if you saw him on socials, he was out and about with a whole crew of miscreants. But he's back here to hopefully be getting you some winners on the card here today. Trig, it's great seeing you, brother. If you won yesterday, I hope you're setting yourself up to go 162-0. If you struggled out of the gate, hey, it's always bounce back time. But opening day, man, the story of the day, Trig, hopefully you didn't have too many unders sitting in your pocket, unless it was Blake Snell under K's, who maybe you just heard someone on this show tell you that should be a wager for you. But overs was the story of the day yesterday, Trig.
Yeah, I actually was at Turning Stone yesterday. There was a opening day like sort of party that I was helping to promote, and we were there for the Sweet 16. So I got to kind of watch all of the games, at once, as you do when you're at the sports book. And, I didn't play anything in Major League Baseball yesterday. That's somewhat by design. And I haven't put out anything yet today, although I'll answer any questions that you guys have. I'll talk about opinions. But like, Dan, last year, I went back and looked at last year, and really like April's very difficult for Major League Baseball, at least in my opinion. I went back to last year. I did so well from about June, July on, making back a lot of what I sort of lost in April, that I kind of, I'm looking at my projections. I looked at my projections from last year, and I'm going to gravitate more toward in-season data when I can this year. And then, of course, my assessment of guys coming up from AAA, which is really where I spend the bulk of my time. So today's AAA opening day, I may have a play there. I've played a couple of Korean baseball games, 2-1 so far in KBO. I've got 6 straight wins across all sports into today. So I'm just going to kind of, wait till the MLB starts to come to me a little bit, because as soon as guys start getting called up, as soon as the rosters move around a little bit, there's going to be a lot of good spots. And I do think there is going to be spots this weekend. It's just, first day, like I'll give an example. Yesterday, Dan, those books had 3 or 4 days to price those out. Every game was priced very accurately. I talked about 2 games on my show with Brian Power. They went 1-1, and it didn't really surprise me. It was like they were both kind of like at prices that were very difficult to find value. So I think we might see that for another day or two, but that'll go away. Give it a day, give it a couple days, and there's going to be some really good situational spots to take advantage of. So glad that baseball's back. Can't wait to do this for the next 6 months.
Yeah, and you saw the comments roll in there. We have Jack already. Oakland money line plays start today. As yesterday in the chat we were talking about, hey, to start the season, I think it was Jack who was commenting saying maybe we just ride the Oakland A's right here out of the gate. And if you did at least once, so far 0-1. We mentioned that we were going to be tracking that all season long. So far 0-1, Jack. Looking for the bounce back. We will touch upon that in just a few here, Jack. The question about his A's take. But first, let's talk some games here right out of the gate, Trig. And let's start with the top of the card here, starting at 4:10 Eastern time. Prices are a little bit wild here on Friday on the limited but still sizable 9-game MLB slate for you today. But the Rays laying over 2 bills already. Didn't take long to see 2 bill favorites here in MLB. They're taking on Colorado. Looks like Freeland's going to be on the mound for them. Trig, if there's anyone who can find value on ugly dogs, whether it's early in the season or prime time, it's you, my man. But this one still feels even a little too ugly for my taste. What are you thinking for this Colorado and Tampa Bay Rays game?
Yeah, so this is a game I had circled, but Dan, I'm not going to make a case for Colorado here. When I thought this was Taj Bradley on the mound for the Rays, I had, before I saw the prices, I said, I would love to play. I would love to play the Rays in some capacity here. I don't think the Rockies are going to be very good. If you look at their home road splits for the last century, they're always going to be far worse on the road. And I said I'd love to play the Rays because, it's not like the Rays are a team that should get a ton of respect at this point. And so I said, man, I'd love to play the Rays in that opening day spot at quote unquote home. Well, their current home, $2 favorite, right? So the books just give you no chance. And even with the pitching change, minus 210. I mean, my numbers have the Rays by more than a run here, but that's not something I'm going to bet. Like not on quote unquote opening day. It's opening day for these two teams. That being said, I may look. I don't know that you're going to find a spot to bet the Rays in this series, even though that's what I would want to do. So Bradley does pitch on Sunday now. They tweaked the rotation a little bit, and he's gotten moved back to Sunday against Ryan. I believe it's Feltner on the mound for Colorado. Again, though, I don't even really. I could even if the Rockies were to win today or tomorrow, are the Rays going to be any sort of value on Sunday, like enough to bet them? My guess is no. So I guess I'll leave it at I'm not really. I don't anticipate jumping in with the Rockies here. If the Rockies are going to be a play at all for me this year, it's going to probably be in a spot where they're in a favorable spot at Coors Field. I don't know that I'm going to come out of the gate firing on the Rockies on the road.
Yeah, full disclosure, if this game wasn't at the top of the card, Trig, it probably wouldn't have been discussed here, right? We always start with the first game for the live viewers for you, but I'm right there with Trig. I mean, the price, ew, either way. The game's not too exciting. I think Jack sums it up perfectly. There's a reason Major League Baseball did not put these teams on opening day. Yes, that is absolutely agreed there, JF. Hey, if you're hanging out with us, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. As a matter of fact, make sure you stay tuned right here on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel, as just about 40 minutes from now, you're getting a live and free unfettered take with our man VR. That's right. The Steam Room is live today, this afternoon, getting you ready to go for UFC this weekend, obviously leading in to this evening's Sweet 16 matchups. And he's going to have some plays across all different sports. Some Belarusian handball probably that you'll be getting from our man VR. But the Steam Room taking your comments live coming up here at 2 o'clock Eastern. More reasons than ever to subscribe, folks. Let's get over that 200,000. We are so close. A subscribe and a like from you goes a long way to keeping this content free and around the clock just for you. Trig, so you didn't have much of a vibe here in the Rockies and Rays game. I'm right there with you, but there are, again, I know it's a smaller card, but there are still some games that definitely deserve some attention. The folks who were just looking to back Skeens right out of the gate weren't too happy in that Pittsburgh and Miami game. Game 2 going to be kicking off here after Miami cashes the plus 125 outright for the folks with that 5-4 win yesterday. How do you see game 2, shaking out? One of the big angles last year throughout the year was fade Pittsburgh's after Skeens starts. Now, the whole phenom thing of this, the whole bursting on the scene side of this equation has now fallen by the wayside as he's entering the sophomore season here. But what's your thoughts? It's going to be Keller. It's going to be Gillespie in this one. And still road chalk for the Pirates. Books are saying bounce back incoming. What does Trig think?
Yeah, so this was a spot that I had circled before the numbers sort of came up. As they were coming out last night. I like the Pirates here. I do think they bounce back today. And this is really what's going to be the issue here, Dan, and it's kind of like yesterday. I did a show with Brian Power. We kind of went through the opening day slate. I talked about 2 games. What ultimately held me off was price point. And those 2 games went 1-1. So it in hindsight, like whatever, no harm, no foul. I probably maybe saved myself a little juice. That's really what it comes down to here for me. If the Pirates take some money if the Marlins take some money over the next couple hours, there's probably a good chance I play the Pirates. But from a line perspective, this open minus 130, that was quickly gone. I think I saw this as high as minus 148, maybe even minus 150 some places. Now, on the screen here, we show minus 145. I'm seeing sort of minus 145 being what the market is. I do see some books at minus 140. I think if this went back to minus 130, maybe a little bit lower, that I'd probably jump in with the Pirates. So you talked about yesterday's game, Marlins sort of coming back and scoring 2 runs in the 8th to tie the game and then walking it off in the 9th. I can assure you that's not going to happen very often this year. Marlins winning games in that fashion. So I would be, sort of willing I'd be willing to like bet on the Pirates not blowing a lead for the second day in a row. And the reason I kind of had this game circled is I'm going to go back to my AAA power ratings from last year. Connor Gillespie was a guy that spent most of last year in AAA with the Columbus Clippers in the Guardians organization, and just not a guy I had, particularly highly rated. I watched a lot of his starts. He was, I actually was surprised digging into his numbers today that they ended up being better than I thought they were. I feel like he finished the season strong. Again, going off kind of like memory there, I feel like he had a pretty solid finish to the season, but he's just not someone that I had rated highly at the AAA level. Now he's being asked to start a big league game here for the Marlins. So he's someone that I would be willing to play against. And then it's just the setup of, okay, Pirates had a lead yesterday. They blew that lead. They're probably going to want to bounce back. I mean, well, I would say, of course they want to bounce back, right? But they're in the mindset of we just blew a 4-2 lead to a poor baseball team. I'll give Keller the nod from a power rating standpoint over Gillespie. It just comes down to, do I want to lay minus 140 with the Pirates? And this is what I'm talking about. The books, it's still very early in the season. That the movement hasn't happened with rosters. We don't have tired bullpens yet. So there's just not as many ins to justify, going, it's just going to be harder to find value. I think that's what you're finding here. If this was Pirates minus 120, I'm all over it. At minus 140, I got to be a little bit more selective. So I do lean toward the Pirates. I'd love to play against Gillespie here. I think that's the right move. But at minus 140, I just don't know if I can get there at that price.
Adam Trigger, check him out on socials at Adam Trigger WT. Check him out here at WT.buzz/AT. Trig, we do have some of these questions coming in. Again, 9-game cards. We'll hit what you want us to hit. We'll be here live with you for another, let's call it 15, 20 so minutes before we make way for our man VR Live in the Steam Room. So we'll touch upon Jack's question regarding the blind back of the A's. But first, specific game here, Titans CT out of the gate looking towards the Mets. I guess this is the bounce back show, right? A lot of these angles that we'll be talking about is who bounces back after a frustrating game one, and that was the case for New York. You spend all this money on these bats, and the bats didn't quite get it done for you, only getting one across against Houston to start off the season, 8:10 Eastern. Game 2 is going in Houston tonight, and it will be McGill on the mound. It's looking like he'll be opposed by Hunter Brown. We're looking at about minus 125, a small nominal take back if you are back in the Mets. And the bounce back, that plus money with this roster, Trig, I mean, that's attractive to me. I just don't know when it will be that the Mets will start putting it together. It'll happen, right? But is it wash the slate clean and it happens here in game 2? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I kind of quickly threw this game out. Number came out exactly sort of where the books have it, like minus 115, minus 120 range for the Astros. Yeah, I kind of see no real reason to get involved with this game, Dan. It's yes, theoretically the Mets will bounce back at some point, right? We know they're a pretty good team, and what happens on opening day is I don't put a ton of stock into an opening day result, but the Astros are weirdly intriguing to me this year. And we can go into the A's discussion after this, but the Astros are I feel like they're maybe getting not enough love again. I mean, they won this division again last year. They kind of had no business doing so, right? Last year was the year that it was up for grabs, and the Astros still get it done. And I really do think the Rangers are going to be much better than they were last year, but I'm not super high in the Mariners. I really like the A's, and we'll talk about that in a second. But again, I just feel like the Astros not getting a ton of love, and yet here they are, opening day win. Do you want to go against Hunter Brown? I certainly don't. He can be, he was cooking last year once he got going. So yeah, this was one of the easiest throwouts on the board for me. Price was right on the money. Had no interest in laying any sort of juice with the Astros. Had no interest against going against Hunter Brown. So an easy pass for me here.
Hop in the comments. Let us know what game you want us to touch upon, because we're going to circle back to something we talked about yesterday. And it's a loyal viewer here and in the chat over the last 2 days. See him on other shows. Jack Falk, we appreciate you. Trig, he had this theory, and he didn't expound much of why he feels this way, but he said blind back on the Oakland A's to start the year. So he's saying playing them money line every single game for the first 20 games of the season, and he believes that you will make money in that endeavor. Now, for me, it's tough for me to blindly back the A's to do anything, right? And the issue that I have is the first 2 days of the season thus far, blindly backing them at a plus 115, plus 120, like that's not going to recoup the loss that you already have, right? So for me, they start off, it's a 4-game set with the Mariners. Then they have a 3-game set with the Cubs. The Rockies, that seems advantageous. Padres, who knows? Then they play the Mets. You have to think the Mets will finally be in their stride by the time they'll see each other in mid-April. White Sox, all right, maybe advantage A's there, but it's on the road. They stay on the road with the Brewers. So I don't hate categorically picking a team and saying, I'm going to be riding this team. That's just the rigmaroles of the baseball season, right? I just don't know if the start of the season is maybe where I would be wanting to say, let's ride with the A's, right? Because that schedule that I just rattled off for you, Trig, there's not many spots there where you say, all right, this is maybe where they go on a bit of a run. What do you think about blindly backing the A's here 20 games into the season? Will you be plus money? Will you not? Or would you approach it a different way?
I'll take it one step further. I think if you blindly bet the A's for 162 games this year, you will end up ahead. I really strongly feel that way. So I promise Jack Falk's probably a real guy. That is not my burner. I did not send him in here to tee me up for the A's. I love this team relative to where the market has them. Now, if you go back to last September when we were doing this show, I made a very bold statement. I said, your 2025 AL West champion, Oakland A's at the time. Now, I don't think they're, and the reason I was saying that was a lot of these guys got called up. They were playing really good ball late August into September, priced as a total bottom option in the market. Now, I don't believe they're going to win this division this year. Like I said, that was a little bit more tongue in cheek, but I do believe that they could play 500 ball. I don't think that's a stretch at all. They have some really solid players on this team that I don't think are being priced as such. Like, I just don't think they're getting the credit for the Lawrence Butlers, the Brett Rookers, the fact that Jacob Wilson might win Rookie of the Year. He's that good. He tweaked his hamstring coming around third, like the day after he got called up last year, ended up not really getting to play at the big league level much, had to go back, sort of do some rehab. He came up right at the end. So he's not really a known commodity at this point. But if you follow A's baseball and you follow the farm system, you should know who Jacob Wilson is, and he very well could be one of the he could be the most productive rookie in Major League Baseball this year. Like, that's his ceiling. The other thing, they went out and paid a pitcher finally. They got Luis Severino. He'll be a nice add. He threw the ball pretty well yesterday. They have great. I don't know if they have a great bullpen, but they're certainly putting together a bullpen. Like, they have, obviously last year they had the best reliever in all of baseball in Mason Miller. They have some decent leverage guys. And last year, if you watch the A's, something I really noticed with them, it makes yesterday's result somewhat surprising. When the A's had a lead last year, they almost always won. Like, they didn't blow many leads. When they had the lead, if they got to the 7th, 8th inning and they had a lead, it usually ended in a Miller save and an A's win. So for them to go into the 8th inning yesterday, actually one of the plays I gave out with BP yesterday, one of my two sort of like strong leans was A's plus 1.5. The reason I couldn't possibly play that was it was minus 150, so totally out of my price range. That's a really harsh loss right there. I mean, you had a game that was 2-1 going into the I believe it was 2-1 going to the bottom of the 8th inning, give up the home run to a Rosarena, end up losing 4-2. Like, that's just a really tough beat regardless, let alone to lose the plus 1.5 there. I said yesterday, and I still believe this is true, I will find my way into this series with the A's. I just, here again, I think the books are doing a really good job pricing this out. I think that's a tad cheap for Castillo. Like I was, again, I didn't expect to get plus 1.5 at a playable number here with the matchup. I thought it would be closer to what it is, but I would have needed a little bit more than like plus 120, I think, to take them on the road in this spot. Now, with that being said, will it surprise me in the least bit if the A's win today? No. I think the Mariners are going to be a team that you want to play against. I think they're being priced as an 85 to 90 win team this year. And this is a team that hit 221 as a team last season. They were 10th in the American League in runs scored, and they did nothing to improve upon that other than pretty much say, we need Randy Arozarena and we need Julio Rodriguez to play like they did a couple years ago, right? Like that is their upside on offense this year. Please bounce back, J-Rod, and please have a good season, Randy Arozarena. Like they really didn't do much else to improve this team offensively that wasn't very good offensively last year. So the A's make sense here, plus 125, plus 120. I didn't play it, but they make sense, right? Like I liked them yesterday. I felt like they were a little bit unlucky to lose that game yesterday. Very unlucky to not cover the plus 1.5. I like them again today, and I will be looking for a spot to play the A's at some point this weekend.
Yeah, and for me, one of the comments from FB Coach is the exact way that I look at it. He says they will have to prove it before I put anything on them. Like, I am all for let's ride streaks in baseball. I think that's one of the best ways that you can make money is find a team, you either fade them until the wheels fall off or you ride them until the wheels fall off. But I don't want to be picking when that starts and already lose a good portion of my bankroll before that roll starts happening. So I'm with FB Coach. Once I see it, once I feel that that's coming, that's when I'm going to jump in. But I'm not tripping myself up running some double Dutch. We'll get to some of these comments. But, hey, shout out to my man DG over on YouTube Shorts. He's loving the locks that I got for the folks here. Trig has the LOCKS. I got the LOCs, according to my man DG. We appreciate the tip, man. $1.99. Maybe we'll throw that into a parlay, roll it over, make a little ladder play for the folks. But DG, appreciate it. Love that. Make sure you hit that like button too. Goes a long way. And if you haven't already, folks, you're missing out. Make sure you're subscribed here. Live content going around the clock, single gamer videos, everything that you could need to bet all the sports you love. We got it right here on WagerTalk TV. We're just, under 2,000 subscribers away from being at 200,000.
Yeah.
That'd be a great mark to show us thanks. What do you got for us, Trig?
I'm with Russell Deck. Like ride the wave, right? Or like jump on now. Like I don't think you should wait to necessarily bet the A's. I mean I'm waiting for the right time, like the right price. But like I think it's a high likelihood they win out of the gate. Couple reasons. One, a lot of those guys get to come up and play at the big league level toward the end of last year, right? So it's like a lot of these guys, the Wilsons, and they got Grant Holman in there toward the end of last year. I'm just going off the top of my head with some call-ups last year that got some time. I'm blanking, but the guy that hit both home runs yesterday was a guy that kind of came up and got some time toward the end of last year. Like they're going to be playing at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. Okay, that's a 14,000 seat park. That's probably going to be full on a nightly basis, right? Until the novelty of until maybe the A's start to lose and the fans stop caring. That's going to be that's going to be a fantastic environment. This is a team that was playing in a dump last year with 3,000 fans, and they really didn't care until the very end. They didn't care until the very end. And actually, the A's kind of, when people started to show up and it was like this big celebration of the history of A's baseball, and they had some fans in the stands, the A's actually played pretty well sort of down the stretch in those games. They're going to be in a city that should embrace having a major league team, right? Like Sacramento's got to be excited about getting big league ball. I mean, they got the Cubs coming to town on Monday night. That's got to be exciting. They should have a packed house. They renovated the ballpark, so they did put some amenities in that big league teams can expect as opposed to last year. I just think there's guys that want to be there. Like Brett Rooker was super vocal about like really wanting to win with that organization. It's one of the reasons I think he didn't go take money somewhere else. And finally, going into this transition into Las Vegas, they finally showed that they might spend $1 or $2 to try to win baseball games. They go out and pay Luis Severino, give him the biggest guaranteed contract they've ever dished out in the history of their franchise. So I think there's a ton to like about the A's. I think those games at home, especially in the early going, are going to be great. Minor league baseball fans are great. Like, they will show up. I fully expect that to be a full house.
If you build it, they will come. Yeah. Or if you just take over residency in someone else's stadium, they will come. According to my man Adam Trigger. Hey Trig, real quick, we got some games that we'll hit here before we shut things down for the day. I do think our friend Welch Snack, they took a wrong turn. You're taking Auburn minus 9.5. If you're on shorts above me, you see the thing that says first pitch. Baseball show here, Welch. But Trig does handicap basketball. He's got some plays locked and loaded for you tonight. WT.buzz/AT. Maybe Trig on the way out will give you some thoughts on Auburn. But first, we have in the chat here, Rangers rebound today. We talked a lot how maybe Friday is rebound day. Is that what you see maybe in this Boston and Texas game? Basically, you're looking at a pick 'em price shaded one way or the other. It's shaded towards the Boston side here, but it's Houck and Leiter. And Houck, in the 3 starts that he's had in his career against Texas, it's not been kind from him. He's gotten 1 decision, and that decision was a loss. He's right around 6 ERA. So if you think Texas might be able to get to him a little bit here early, rebound certainly could be in the cards. You only got to bet minus 105 to do it. Or if you want to fade Houck, you isolate and take the bullpens out of this thing and go first 5. How would you be looking to bet this game, Trig? And then we'll let folks know what you got up over at WagerTalk.
Yeah, I like the Rangers here. I guess the only thing that's giving me a little pause is Leiter when he wasn't mentally ready to pitch at the big league level last year. His stuff was so good at AAA, and there was a couple. I do blame the Rangers a little bit. I felt like they put him in very unfavorable situations on a couple of times when they called him up. The one that comes to mind was a game out in Detroit where they called him up at the very last second. It was a kind of a cold day, early start. I don't think he got his normal prep, and he ended up getting lit up in that game. And I just I don't know. I felt like anytime he was at the big league level last year, he was overthinking it a little bit. So he is a guy that I you want to talk about where my ratings are on pitchers that didn't see a ton of big league time last year. Leiter was way up in my power ratings early in the season, and he's still in relation to a Gillespie, who we talked about earlier, I'd much rather back Leiter. I guess the only thing for me is the Red Sox are still a team that I do respect at this point. They had some really good talent that's made its way up to the big league level as well. And I felt like they improved their team this past offseason. So it would be Rangers or nothing for me in this one. My only concern was if things don't go well for Leiter out of the gate, does he unravel a little bit? I think this is a scenario, Dan, where I'd love to see a start or two from him before I really start kind of backing him, or I'd want a team where I think the Rangers maybe are a little bit overall stronger than I have them and the Red Sox somewhat equal right now.
Great stuff, man. The chat's loving the info that you're dropping here, Trig. As Russell said, smack the button, touch it gently. However you do it, just make sure you hit the like button on your way out. And if you haven't already, that bell is what you really need to click. Make sure you're subscribed and you'll never miss when we go live. Trig, we got to get out of here because in 15 minutes, VR. That's right. Vegas runner, Gianni, the Greek, whatever you call him, he's taking over the damn channel, and he's going to be bringing the thunder on a live edition of the Steam Room for free coming your way in 15 minutes. Oakland plus 900 to make the playoff. Apparently, first pitch is just an Oakland A's show now, Trig. It's we're just going to change the name to Oakland A's Daily because we're betting on them every single day, according to Jack. We're taking them plus 900 to miss the playoffs or make the playoffs. Trig saying bet them on your futures now. So we're just an Oakland A's show now. So that now we got that out of the way.
I mean, when I'm on, I'm probably going to be pro A's. Like I said,
A doesn't stand for Adam. It stands for Oakland Athletics. So, Trig,
and they do not want to be called Oakland. They do not want to be called Oakland.
We'll just call them,
totally dropped that.
We'll call them We'll get ownership
West
stake in them. We'll
Sacramento.
call them the WagerTalk Athletics. Call them the WagerTalk Athletics.
West,
We're big,
yeah.
big fans here. Trig, what do you got over at WagerTalk.com? Let folks know what you got locked and loaded tonight. Sweet 16 action. And after you share what you have locked and loaded, just give the folks a quick breakdown on the Baltimore game going tonight. We had a question regarding if you like them or not. So what do you got over your page, and how are we betting Baltimore tonight?
Yeah, so what I have on my page right now, I haven't fired anything yet, but it's like I'm also kind of like on a really nice run. I've won 6 straight games across all sports. So I'm not going to force anything out. There's a good possibility I'll be involved in college basketball again tonight. And then baseball, like I've got a couple on my radar. So some of them are going to be, price sensitive. I mean, we talked about, Pittsburgh's away. I'm looking today. I do lean Rangers. I do lean Oakland A's. They're West Sacramento A's tonight. Just right now, I'm being a little bit more selective since it's March and we've got 6 months to find spots in Major League Baseball. I may fire out a AAA play at some point today, pending lineups. That just started. I'll be posting those in my Wager Talk picks. I'm not going to put those up for sale, but you will get them on the service if that's something that you're interested in. KBO, I'm 2-1 to start the season. Those plays go overnight tonight, so I may have something there. And as far as the Orioles are concerned, I thought this number was a little bit like I do think the Orioles are maybe some value today. I did lean toward the Jays yesterday, and they got blown up. So, I mean, that was actually, Dan, I'll go as far as to say that was one of the more surprising results of the day yesterday was the Jays just getting absolutely boat raced at home in what I felt like was a pretty winnable spot for them. I am long-term, I think long-term the Orioles are going to be a fade for me relative to where the market has them. But I just don't know that I would I still think minus 125 is like a little bit inflated for that on a price for the Blue Jays, especially after, well, A, what we saw yesterday, but B, this is a Blue Jays team that was not very good last year. They dumped off, some guys, got some prospects in. I do like I like the Kikuchi trade for them. I like some of the guys they brought over. So I do think the Jays will be decent. I think the Jays probably outperform market expectations, and Gausman's pretty consistent. So it's a tough one. I didn't really want to lay $1.25, $1.30, especially after that horrific performance yesterday. But I kind of think that if you were just making me pick the winner here, I'd lean toward the Blue Jays. So that's why it was tough for me to get involved with this one. Just, again, price point, not what I wanted to see. Closer to a pick, I think I'd be down for Blue Jays action, but at minus 130, tough to make a case there.
Oh, great. Dan's frozen. Oh, that's great, Trig. So now you're the one who's got to say goodbye now. Way to go here.
All right.
And we didn't even talk about the Phillies, and he froze his ass out.
I know.
Unbelievable.
I know. You know who? So if we're still live, I'll tell you who doesn't want to talk about the Phillies is BP. I know he had Nationals plus 1.5, gave it out on our show yesterday. They, of course, choked it away in the 10th inning. I guess I'll wrap it up with, head on over to my page at WagerTalk, wt.buzz/AT. Check out the long-term packages, especially for me during baseball season. The long-term packages are the way to go. I will play baseball later in the day sometime, especially if I'm waiting for prices to maybe move into range and stuff like that. So 7-day, 30-day are the way to go. I will absolutely post something. He's back.
This is bullshit, Trig. This is deep state stuff. I don't know how I keep getting frozen on this show. Just when I'm about to tell people, bet the Phillies money line for tomorrow. Don't sweat that they were on 10. It took 10 innings for them to get the win. This is ridiculous, Trig. They're trying to hold me down. They're trying to keep me censored, but I won't let them. Trig, all joking aside, man, big thanks to you, brother, hopping on here. Hopefully we're going to do a couple more of these. We'll let you know what the first pitch schedule is going to be looking like upcoming, whether we're going to be with you every day or just a few days throughout the week. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. So whenever we go live, you won't miss us here. Signing off for Adam Trigger, I'm Dan Alexander. Big thanks to Joe behind the scenes. Stay tuned, folks, because you got live gamer videos, single game videos right here on the channel. But coming up in 10 minutes, VR, the Greek Gambler, taking over. Steam Room, live taking your questions all along the way. Don't miss it here on First Pitch.